David's got us all ready to go. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Judiciary and License Committee on Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. First order of business is citizen comments. There don't seem to be any citizens who want to comment at the moment. Going twice, going three times, moving on. The next up is the approval of the August 1st, 2023 minutes.
So moved.
Second, okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried. Next up is the consent agenda. And for this evening's menu, we have application for a secondhand property license for the Basement Dorks LLC DBA as Oddities Magna and Games at 203A West Upham Street. Application for secondhand property license for the Dragon's Roost LLC, 1304B South Central Avenue. And C, application for a temporary Class B retailer's license for the Marshfield's Eagle Club Auxiliary for an event to be held at Astor Retirement Community, 305 South Chestnut Avenue on Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. What's your wish?
Move to approve.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, we carried. And next up is the claim of Jason Rim. Jess, that you? You got that?
Sure. You see in the packet the letter that I have drafted at the advice of both our attorney and the attorney representing the insurance company on this claim, recommending that disallowance on that claim.
Okay, the chair will make a motion to recommend the disallowance.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. And place of last drink update. And could you come to the microphone, please? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have a PowerPoint or anything like that. Jess, I think Amber sent out the handouts that you guys were supposed to get. So I did bring some just like things that we've made too as well that was not in the handouts that I'll try and show on here and then to everybody else. So place of last drink, I just want to reiterate what it is really quick, is basically a data collection system that we use to identify patterns of overserving with Class B licensees in Marshfield. And currently we are collecting this data through the Marshfield Police Department when they stop people for OWIs. Specifically for alcohol. So we have a database that we collect all of this stuff in, and then I put it all together and make a report every 6 months. And if I see something that's like, whoa, red flag, I definitely do contact the police department and let them know, like, hey, maybe you guys should like have somebody check this out. So I did make a report for January 1st, 2023 through July 18th, 2023. That is one of your handouts. And this is our latest data that I just put together here in July. And just a couple of things that I want to highlight on it is that 88% of our Class B licensees in Marshfield were actually not named at all, which is pretty awesome. However, there are some businesses named in that data quite frequently. So another interesting point that I wanted to bring out that I've talked to Travis Esser about too is actually 65% of the OWIs that we reported in our polled data happened before midnight. So that's at like 5 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Were actually the bulk of our reported OWIs this time, which was really interesting. But he had said that there was some officers that changed over from night shift to day shift that are pretty passionate about catching, I don't know if that's the right word, correct me if I'm wrong, getting people that are operating while intoxicated on that shifts, which is really cool. So thank you to them for doing that. But we did have 34 total incidences from January to July 18th. That was the latest data that was put in there for me to look at. I haven't checked in a couple of weeks just because technically June is the 6 months, but I just kind of looked at what was in there. And that's approximately about 5 OWIs a month that law enforcement is getting, which is kind of a lot. That's like 1 a week. And that's just for the Marshfield Police Department. That's not including Wood County Sheriff in there. That's just the police department. And that's, again, over a 6-month period. So you can see on the table that the top two establishments that were named in that were Nuts Deep and the Neighborhood Bar. So they were named twice for each of those. So you see that? Any questions with that report?
Yeah, could you state your name for the record, please?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm Emily Lacher. I'm a health educator with Marshfield Clinic Health System.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the next report that I wanted to highlight was just like our total data that we've had since we started collecting January 1st of 2021. And in that data, we actually had 66%, so over half of our Class B licensees in Marshfield not named at all in that data, which is pretty awesome. We did have 95 incidences reported in that data, which is about 3 OWIs a month on average with the total. And that's over a 31-month period. So that's a little bit longer of a period of time. And the other thing that I want to highlight on here is 3 businesses. So Nuts Deep 2, they had 8 times that they were named in our data, which is actually over double the amount of all the other businesses that were named in our data. So that's kind of like, what's going on there? But again, that's over 31 months, but I still wanted to bring it to light. And then the next 2 are Goodfellas, which had 5 times that they were named, along with Jack's was 5 times. So that's kind of the gist of the data that we've been collecting and what we've been seeing. So I'll pause to see if there's any questions or anything like that.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious, does your data take into consideration the size of the bar and how many people it holds or anything like that?
It does not, because we approach it with like, you might be seeing more people, but that means that you have even more responsibility to not be over-serving people.
I have a quick question for you
Sure.
too. During this period of time, were there any festivals or events held at downtown or at any of the bars that would have caused for a spike in these numbers?
Not necessarily a spike, but yes, there would be like Hub City Days, the Central Wisconsin State Fair, the various downtown fundraisers. Like I know United Way does like a wine walk each year. So those events did happen within this period, within the compiled data, not within the January 1st, 2023 to July. I'm not sure about any downtown events, but the fairs had not happened at that time.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
And then what follow-up do you have with this report, or what follow-up does the police department have with this report? Do you go into these facilities and re-educate the bartenders, or what do you use this data for to improve things?
Yeah, great question. So we do a number of things, and I'll just jump right into our accomplishments that we've done due to this data. And basically what happens is when we see a specific amount of times that a business was named within our reports, we have an officer at the police department follow up with a letter to them first. And if we do see them repeat, such as like if they have 4 more times, they send a letter and then they follow up in person with that establishment owner to talk about what's going on. We'd like to take an educational approach with our businesses because we don't want to come off as accusatory or anything like that. That's not the point of this. But it just does give a better picture of what's going on in Marshfield so that we can address it through educational-based things. You're welcome.
Jessica, we don't generally have this data when we're looking at license renewals, do we?
No, when we're doing licensing renewal, what we're looking at is the times that our officers have had to actually go issue a citation. Whether that was because they served a minor or they didn't have a licensed bartender on premise. This is information that gets compiled, but not necessarily considered in your review process. It's certainly something we can try to bring forward to you if you would like us to do that. It would be a different time frame because licensing is
Well, I think
June.
that's what, I think only current year data, but I would ask the, maybe when's our big bulk of them? Is it, or,
We usually do that around the first or second meeting of June, so we could do sort of a July 1 of this year through maybe April might be manageable
Yeah.
with Emily.
Isn't it like April 15th, they all have to like
They're
start selling?
supposed to turn them in by April 15th,
Right.
and we bring them here in
and I
June.
think the only reason I'm saying that, again, not being punitive,
Mhm.
but the point is, they need to be educated, on the fact that it does have an effect on the community.
Does.
And believe me, an OWI has the potential for doing a very big impact on it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I do just want to remind, though, in our code, we wouldn't be able to assess points against that establishment if it's not a chapter 125 violation.
Right.
If that was a change you wanted to make, we would have to
Right.
look at that.
Could I make a comment on that? So one thing that I want to be careful with is I don't want this to be punitive. This is a really good chance for us just to educate and to maybe stop things before they become an issue. The way that we gather the data is voluntarily after the OWI arrest. So there's no way that we can actually verify that that's exactly where they came from. So for that reason, I'm hesitant to have any punitive thing on the bar. It's just to say, hey, we've come into a couple of your patrons and we'd like you to keep an eye on some things, and we have some materials to help you do it. So for that reason, I would suggest that we not move this towards getting points.
Can you tell me what kind of education, re-education you would do?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we do send out letters to all of the people that are named. So Derek Iverson at the police department does do that. And when we do send the letters, we send a number of educational materials. So again, I apologize, these weren't in the packet, but we do have a recognizing, I'm gonna try and put it on here, recognizing the signs of alcohol intoxication. This does not exist on the internet at all. This is not something that you can just print out and give to somebody. I had to actually make this into a document. So this does not exist, so we have that. And then I also have made here, that, again, this does not exist on the internet, is this overpouring the real cost. And this gives the like analysis of how much the bars are losing in money when they're over-serving people, when they're overpouring drinks. So they get both of these. And then lastly, we've been sending out these little standard drink size coasters. We've sent out these shelf wobblers and these signs to all of our Class A and Class B. The Class A's don't get the coasters, but the Class B's do, to just remind them, like, check IDs, don't overserve people. And we've also done numerous outreach on social media as well around alcohol. So there's a number of things that we've been doing.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add one thing, and that was to thank Emily and her team, because they have gotten those materials to us that we supply to each of the establishments when we actually mail their license each year. So they get a packet of information from the Department of Revenue, from us, but then also the information from Marshfield Clinic. And the businesses have appreciated that reminder to put out to their employees. So it's just been a really nice collaboration to have that with them, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to brag a little bit because the state is actually, like, the state of Wisconsin, the Alcohol Policy Project is looking to the Marshfield Police Department and Marshfield specifically to not only do presentations on POLD, like Derek and I are going to the governor's conference in the Dells in a couple of weeks to present on our program. We've done a statewide place of last drink meeting with all partners across the state to talk about our program. And we are also going to be supplying the information for the alcohol age compliance check manual that will go out for the entire state. So it's really, really neat, the stuff that we've been able to do and being recognized by the state as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else? Chief? Thank you for appearing, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. And we'll move on to items for future agendas. Rebecca, you have anything? Jess? Chief? You're a big help. Thank you very much. And with that, our business is completed, and I'll declare the meeting adjourned.